Hi everyone. It's a happy and a sad day today. Happy because this is the last recording, because from next week all of the Lighthouse groups will be back meeting in person at church, which is really exciting. We'll get to see all our friends every week. But a bit sad, because I don't know about you, but I've really enjoyed listening to these talks. Sometimes even more than the sermon. Shh, don't tell Shaki. And I hope that you've all enjoyed listening to them as much as we've enjoyed making them. So we come to the last one. And it's one of my favourite stories in the Bible. This takes place on Easter Sunday, which I don't think I ever really realised when I was young. So, remember what's happened. Jesus has been crucified, and then, that was on the Friday, and then on the Sunday morning, early in the morning when the Sabbath is finished, some of the ladies go to the tomb, and when they get there, they find the stone has been rolled away. The soldiers have disappeared, and then an angel tells them that Jesus isn't there anymore. And in some of the accounts, they even meet Jesus there in the garden and run back to tell the disciples that Jesus has risen again. Some of the disciples see him, or maybe they don't, it's not quite sure, but they certainly start spreading the news to all the believers that Jesus may well have come back from the dead. But they're not all really sure, and it's all a bit strange. And today we're going to meet two of Jesus' followers. They're not part of those 12 that were tight in the middle, but they were definitely part of the kind of inner circle. So they knew everything was going on and heard pretty quick that Jesus had risen again. But they weren't really sure what was going on. In fact, I kind of think maybe they were a little bit scared. And they're about to do something that we've all done an awful lot through all of the coronavirus. They go for a walk. But not for their half an hour's exercise and not just to fill the day in some way because you can't do anything else. They walked because that was pretty much the only way to get anywhere unless you were really rich. And I'm guessing these guys weren't. So they need to walk from Jerusalem, where they were, to Emmaus, which is a village about 7 miles away. I'm guessing they lived there because it kind of sounds like that. And so they start to walk. And as they walk, they're not smiling and happy. They're looking really miserable and confused, worried. They may be scared that Jesus has been killed. There's strange stories about him coming back to life going round, and they might be afraid that their lives are in danger too. And so they pretty quickly leave Jerusalem from that big celebration they were at before, then from the awful things that have happened, and start to walk home. And it would have been hot and dusty because that's what Israel's like. And as they walk, they're kind of talking about things, but they can't work out what's going on. They can't believe what they've heard and what they've seen. All of their dreams and thoughts about what Jesus was going to do have been kind of vanquished. And they don't know what to do. And as they walk along looking really miserable, I'm thinking like we're Eeyore plodding here. Oh, life is miserable. Or they're speed walking to get away from the danger that's behind them. Not really clear in the Bible. But as they walk along, someone else comes and joins them. And kind of, I'm guessing, listens in, a little bit of an ear there. What are they talking about? And then asks them, why are you looking so sad? What are you talking about? And they're like, but you're coming from Jerusalem, like Jerusalem's back there on the road. How can you not know? You must be the only person who's been in Jerusalem this week who doesn't know what's going on. Haven't you heard that Jesus was killed? And now people are saying crazy things like he's come back from the dead. And the man says to them, let me tell you something. And he goes way back to the Old Testament, to Moses and Abraham and the prophets, and explains from them all the way through how this was all part of God's plan. That Jesus had to come, he had to die, but he had to rise again. And it says in the Bible, as they listened to him, they felt really excited. But who was this strange man that was talking to them? And they walk on a bit more, and eventually they get to like the turn-off for their village, and they kind of go left. And the man that's walking with them kind of makes like he's going to keep going. And they say, stop, come with us for dinner. I guess he's made them feel a bit better. They still don't know who he is. But let me let you into a secret, because it's Jesus. But they don't know this. Now, does this mean Jesus is now invisible and they can't see him? No, they can definitely see him. Maybe he's in disguise. Maybe he's got like Clark Kent taken off the glasses, put on a mask and magically, slip the hair back and looks different. No, I don't think it's that either. Maybe when Jesus rose from the dead, he came back looking different. But that doesn't seem very likely either. I think, for whatever reason, God just doesn't let them know that it's Jesus. Kind of puts like a mask over them, like everything's a bit misty and they can't quite tell. Anyway, remember in those days it was really like polite to ask people to eat with you. So they ask Jesus, but they don't know it's him, to come and eat with them. And I guess they must have thought he was a pretty cool guy, even if they don't know who he is, because they ask him to bless the bread, which is like a really big honour. And so Jesus takes the bread, and in those days they probably didn't have slightly mouldy bread. That's all I've got in my house. They'd have had freshly made bread, but part of their meal was that someone would pray for the bread, which we still pray for our meals now, thank God for it, and then break it. And something about how Jesus does it, did you look like that? Or maybe he tore it, or maybe he held it up really high or down low, we don't know, but something about how he broke that bread triggers something in them. Or maybe God just takes the blinkers off and they suddenly are like, it's Jesus! He really is alive! And then, do you know what happens? Jesus vanishes. And they're like, hang on a minute, did you see that? Was it just me? Did I dream? Did I fall asleep? No. Oh my goodness, we just met Jesus. He really is alive. And he's just explained to us how all of this had to happen. And so do you know what they do? They get their stuff and they walk all the way back to Jerusalem. Now, I don't know about you, but all this walking we've done's kind of put me off the whole walk there, walk back, walk, oh, another walk, oh, what should we do today? I know, let's go on a walk. But they didn't care. Let me tell you something. Jerusalem's on the top of a mountain, so it's like an uphill walk. And they've already walked all the way there in the middle of the day when it was hot. And now they're going to walk all the way back. But they're so excited because they know something. And they don't just want to keep it. They could have stayed in their nice little house. Maybe there's a warm fire, or maybe not because it's really hot. But they've probably got their family around them and they've definitely got food. But instead of staying there, they rush straight back to Jerusalem to go and tell everybody else that Jesus really is alive. And that's a challenge for us because we know the truth. We've got our Bibles to tell us that Jesus did die and really did come back to life. We've got a choice. We can stay in our nice cosy houses and pretend we're in lockdown forever, or we can go out and tell people. And if we can't see people, we can tell them on Zoom, or we can tell them in a letter, or we can tell them on the phone, or we can put it on our Facebook pages, or whatever it is we have. We all have a job to tell people the good news, just like those two men. And the great news is, Jesus doesn't even come in disguise to us. He just comes openly to us and tells us that he loves us, that he died for us, and that he came back so that we can also live forever in heaven with him. So think today, who are you going to tell the good news to? Because it's the best news you could ever tell anyone. And that's it. Our last kids talk, at least for now. But the story doesn't end here. The story doesn't end with lockdown. The story didn't end 2,000 years ago. Ever since that first Easter Sunday, people who follow Jesus have been telling people about him. So see if you can tell someone this week.